And speaking of being punched in the mouth, Brett, the Green Bay Packers, uh, you called this to a TNI. You said they're going to split during the regular season, and then it might come down to a playoff game. What happened? They split, which Chicago came back in that second game. Then Chicago was down 18, and they come back, and people were calling for Matt LaFleur's head. They were wondering, like, what does Brett Favre think? So, I when I was watching the game, I saw LaFleur call a timeout on defense when I thought, hey, you might need that on offense. And no one talks about that timeout, but there was time management. Do you think LaFleur being signed for a multi-year contract was the right thing to do? Or do you think it was time for a changing of the guard?
Well, the most important thing is I don't have the inside knowledge or even, I'm a fair weather fan. I'm watching from a distance. And I don't think that certainly qualifies me to make statements about should they fire him or should they have re-upped his contract and all that stuff. I think he's been a very productive coach. I don't know anything about Coach LaFleur. Yeah, met him briefly, and if you want to call a 15-second conversation total, enough to warrant me knowing him, you're mistaken. But he's definitely a good coach. But that's not the first time that's happened to him. I actually went to the Dallas game earlier in the year at Dallas that they ended up tying. If I were a bet man, I would have bet the farm that Green Bay would have walked away with it. Didn't even need overtime. But the second half, they kind of let them back in, and it was really kind of the same thing. And there's other examples, and I don't know if there's something that is, I don't know, but there's something that is enabling them to have that same, it's like the flip side. Chicago, they've won their games like that this year. It's like, that's not the first time that they looked awful. You like, they're done, they're toast. And then the next thing you know, they're leading by 3 points. It's a damnedest thing. But their bottom line is they're getting it done, no matter how it's getting done. And the Packers, I think the Packers lost five straight to end the season, something like that. Very interesting finish. Not a good one for the Packers.